Morning, everyone. Really appreciate you guys joining us today. I have the pleasure of introducing some of our guest speakers, but wanted to take an opportunity to kind of set the stage here for the flow of this event. First and foremost, my name is Brian Frett. I'm a channel business manager at Palo Alto Networks, and I have the privilege of supporting the Sayers partnership. As you can see from the graphic behind me, Palo Alto Networks just hit our 20-year anniversary. It's something that we are extremely proud of. As you know, the cyberspace evolves rapidly. So to make it 20 years is a great accomplishment. And we believe none of that would be possible without our strong partnerships and a partner like Sayers. So Sayers has been a partner of Palo Alto Networks since 2009. Very strategic partner, tremendous amount of value add to our mutual customers, all with the end goal of making them more secure. So joining me today is Mr. Ken Wisniewski from the Sayers team, who's going to kick things off today with a bit of an overview of some of the value they bring to their customers, our mutual customers. And then following him will be Mr. John Miller. So the topic for today's event is going to be network security focused, specifically the SASE component. As you know, our network security platform has evolved a tremendous amount in those 20 years, right? At our inception as an organization, redefined the hardware firewall space, and with time, the NetSec platform that we refer to as Strata has evolved tremendously with the integration of SASE. And so John is going to kind of take us through a framework. We've gone through a number of iterations, and the latest is what we refer to as SASE 3.0. So we're going to talk about where we started, where we are, and where we're going. But to jump right into things, I will kick it over to Ken. And he will educate us on everything that Sayers brings to the table as it relates to Palo Alto Networks and network security.
Sure. Appreciate the intro there, Brian. And let me know if you can see my screen. All right. All good? All right, perfect. Yeah, so just quick intro to me, Ken Wisniewski, Senior Cybersecurity Architect with Sayers, as Brian alluded to, been a Palo partner for quite some time, and over that time, done a lot of work in the network security space and the firewall spaces, of course, but we've very much been tracking the SASE market as things have progressed, even really before it was called SASE originally. I think we were did some of our first installs before it was Prisma Access back in 2017 or so. So been doing that work for quite a while. So, who is Sayers? We've obviously, we're a VAR. We work with Palo Alto, been doing that for a long time, but we're very, very engineering heavy. So, we offer a lot of services around their products, their portfolio. They're very, very strategic for us, and we do a fantastic job with that. Um, so that said, our general capabilities and our approach to, SASE, but really to services and providing value for our clients, fall under three overall, buckets, right? So we do everything from building solutions, and I kind of highlighted some of the ones that are specific to SASE deployments and implementations and architecture, right? So our clients are looking at things like digital transformation or networking and WAN related projects or modern workplace projects. And so, those are very relevant to the transformation that SASE effect is having on the marketplace today. Next is secure. So this is obviously anything we're doing, we want to build in a secure fashion. And of course, we want to implement and align our products, solutions, and services around applying security capabilities. And so obviously SASE specifically is one of the things that, falls under that category that we're, doing work in. And then on the support side, so this is where, we can provide, pretty much white glove experience with those implementations and those projects. Everything from very, very detailed, architectural discussions, pre-sales discussions to full implementations, and even beyond that into ongoing support engagements and proactive services. And so the, kind of services that we offer that are, kind of specific to that firewall space and specific to that SASE space are what we call our proactive services, proactive firewall and proactive SASE services. And so this is where we can offer support for these solutions, and we can provide that, as I mentioned, white glove experience. And, typically with this, we're involving a technical account manager from our side. We're performing, regimented health checks, best practice assessments, ensuring that not only have you implemented something correctly initially, but that it is also kept in a optimal state as you move forward. And that also accounts for things like new feature enablement. Obviously the Palo team is here to talk about some of the latest and greatest in their product portfolio as it relates to SASE. And so as they're doing those things, we're working very closely with them to stay on top of the latest innovations and changes and enhancements to those products, but also working with our clients to ensure that they're aware of those things and also that they're implementing them and taking good advantage of them. So specific success examples. So we've, been, as I mentioned before, working in the SASE space for a long time. We've got, numerous, this is just a handful or a small handful of specific client examples that we've implemented and have worked with over the past several years. The first one was actually a COVID example that just shows how quickly we're able to work on particular things, right? COVID, obviously, several years ago was a big challenge with a lot of organizations struggling with that VPN migration challenge. All of a sudden, you've got thousands of users that are going to be on a VPN or not on the local network. Does your VPN solution handle that? More than often, it did not. And so we had one particular example where they realized that very quickly, and actually we designed, implemented, and rolled out a SASE solution around Prisma Access to over 10,000 of their mobile users in less than a week. So, these can happen very, very quickly in a very, very accelerated time frame if they need to. Obviously, that is the exception more than it is the rule, but it just plays to our ability to dive in very, very quickly and solve customer-specific challenges ASAP, essentially. The next one, manufacturing implementation. This was not just a mobile user SASE or SSE implementation, but a global complete WAN re-architecture, including everything from SD-WAN to firewall deployment to SASE deployment to over 100 plus sites and 12,000 users. This one's a little bit interesting. They took a called a thick branch type of implementation, which basically means that they're maintaining local security capabilities for segmentation, et cetera, at the branch, but also taking advantage of that SASE architecture for internet egress and access scalability and the feature sets available there within Prisma Access for remote networks. Another one, worldwide consulting organization. This similarly was a worldwide WAN re-architecture and implementation, 80 odd sites, over 10,000 users. This one was a little unique in that it also involved multi-tenancy, so multiple Prisma Access tenants serving different user populations for certain use cases. But it also is a little unique in that they're running, full always on all the time for their mobile users in even in an on-prem deployment. So again, this was a huge project. It involved data center migration. It involved moving to the cloud. It involved a SASE rollout for sites and for mobile users, etc. So huge implementation. Really, we can do these at any scale, down to, several hundred users up to tens of thousands of users. Um, Real estate was another example, another implementation we did. This again was a full SASE, but in this case was also Prisma SD-WAN as the SD-WAN platform of choice. And so this was really the entire Palo Alto specific SASE stack as a single vendor SASE provider. Everything from their SD-WAN platform with Prisma SD-WAN, Prisma Access for networks, Prisma Access for mobile users, um, secure web gateway functionality in the form of explicit proxy, cloud access security brokering, digital experience monitoring with ADEM, pretty much the entirety of the suite there. And then the last one, which I bring up, a little bit smaller deployment, still around 1,000 users, mostly focused on the mobile user aspect, but this one was a little bit more recent and also involved implementation of the new Prisma Access browser capabilities, which they had some specific use cases around for contractor access, etc. So those are just a handful of the Prisma Access implementations and Prisma SASE implementations that we've done over the past year or two. But there are very many more, and again, we pride ourselves in being able to handle those truly full project, start to finish. Our overall, model for how we do these services, we involve project management in all of our implementations. We find that that is crucial to ensuring that projects of these size and complexity get handled in a timely manner and efficiently. We do for SASE-based implementations. These are all done in-house. If this were a unique technology that we didn't particularly work with, we do have some specialty partners that we involve, but in the Palo Alto Networks ecosystem with their SASE portfolio, all of our delivery is done in-house by our own engineering expertise. And then another service that we offer in the event that our clients are looking for it, we also do recruiting and staff augmentation for certain things as well. And we've placed some engineering resources to assist with overall SASE ongoing management and operation with some of our clients. So wrapping up, why Sayers? Who is Sayers? We are obviously a VAR in terms of a value-added reseller, but we pride ourselves on being very client-focused, client-centric, and truly providing that white glove experience. So with that, I will pass it back to our good friends at Palo Alto to give an update on their SASE platform. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, Ken. I'm actually going to stop my video so it doesn't mess up my audio here as I'm presenting. Give me a second to share. You guys see that everything okay, Brian? Perfect. All right, so I'm going to cover Prisma SASE 3.0, so the next chapter of SASE. So what we're calling SASE 3.0 is the evolution of where we were to where we are now with the additional products we purchased and integrated that we built in-house and things that we're rolling out as part of our SASE solution. So the way we changed, worked, or the way we work changed, right? So all the devices are everywhere now. Your data is everywhere, and with that approach comes, potentially increases in productivity, but inconsistent security controls and visibility increases the risk of those users and that data at the same time. So all it takes is one click from somebody doing BYOD, somebody not going through the proper security stack, to get malware, phishing, insider data sharing, things like that. So to tackle that challenge, we need a more holistic solution, and that's where Prisma SASE comes into play. So 3.0, as we're terming it for us, is a significant evolution of the products, right? So we went from integrating with third-party SD-WANs and having a solution that supported, focused on mobile users with a Global Protect agent to we bought a company called CloudGenix, We integrated that as our Prisma SD-WAN solution. We also invested in autonomous digital experience management. So that's going to be the ability to see user scoring and help troubleshoot issues for the users a little bit better to where we are today, where late last year at SASE Converge, we announced the additional changes we were rolling out for our SASE solution, including Gen AI runtime, so the AI security focus, also AI being built into our other platforms such as DLP, application acceleration, the Prisma Access browser, which is a huge focus for us right now. I think Ken already talked about one area of deployment where they did with Prisma Access browser, and it's really taking off. An integration with ADEM and our AI ops for um, correlation and events and getting to a root cause analysis faster. So we're gonna walk through several things. I'm gonna walk through these kind of quick because there's a lot of stuff here. We'll start out with the Prisma Access browser. So why enterprise browser? So we bought a company called Talon Security last year. So we've had them for about 16 months now. We took several months off just to integrate Prisma Access browser into our Strata Cloud Manager, into our cloud delivered security services to get those advanced security services applied directly in the browser and integrate it into our SASE solution. So we did this to meet the four NEs. So we want to protect any user, employees, contractors, third parties. We want to protect them on any device, managed, unmanaged devices, BYOD, right? Bring your own danger. Any location, so home, office, even if they're on vacation, right? We all work in technology. It's easy for me to pull up my phone, load up my browser, and check in on some stuff if I need to. And protecting any web application. And that includes applications that may use SSL certificate pinning, because of where we sit in the browser, we don't require SSL decryption to get the visibility and put those controls, including DLP type controls, directly in the browser. So why is our browser unique? We are a big contributor to the Chromium project. So it is Chromium based, so that's a native user experience. Users will log in, it'll look, act, and feel like Chrome does, import their bookmarks. You can do the same shortcuts and things that you have in Chrome today, and you can control that, what users can have or access from the browser. It requires no admin privileges, which is a big differentiator with us and our competitors. So imagine having a machine, contractors potentially, and they want to access resources. You give them a link, they log in, they get the browser, and now they can't install the browser because they don't have admin rights to this machine because they're contracted through another company. We don't require those privileges to install the browser. It also includes unified visibility and a single policy. Everything managed from Strata Cloud Manager. The concept of app ID, content ID, things like that, the security services you're applying. Now, Prisma Access browser is really an on-ramp to those services, and you get to manage that and control what users can do. It is available Mac, Windows, iOS, Android. There's an extension as well, which is something that we can use a lot with like the Chromebook style, or as an on-ramp to the full browser, right? So you can start by using an extension for your major sanctioned applications. And as you make that evolution, eventually move to a full-blown browser. And we did just announce Linux early availability. So there is a Linux version of this platform as well. So how do we unleash the power of this browser? So we're looking to secure any device. I mentioned managed, I mentioned unmanaged. We're actually isolating those applications you're accessing from the web browser from a potentially untrusted endpoint, providing best-in-class security with cloud delivered security services, and getting all the detail, all the insights for threat hunting and forensics as users are trying to access resources. The ability to boost visibility and control. So I mentioned no visibility, I mentioned SSL decryption. A lot of times SSL decryption is the reason why you don't have visibility into what people are doing inside of applications. Because a lot of times with hardware equipment, you can lose significant amount of performance by turning on SSL decryption for a large portion of your traffic. So anything you're not decrypting, then they can send out over the web, and it'll be invisible to the security team potentially. So we want to extend those zero trust policies for all actions, all apps. Apply what we're calling last inch, not last mile. Mile's a long way. An inch is a short distance. Me to my browser, inputting things into the browser, giving us control over all of that at the browser at the last inch. Leveraging data classification, MFA, just-in-time controls, integration with our DLP for data classifications, profiles, et cetera. And offering that as a delightful user experience for the users. So being a Chromium browser, it's going to feel like they're using Chrome already or Safari. Increased productivity, application performance. I mentioned application acceleration and some other things built into the browser that enable a faster performance naturally by not having all the extra bloat installed. And onboarding, offboarding users in minutes. So total cost of ownership, a significant reduction in total cost of ownership versus sending a user a built laptop, gold image, all your things on it, or building a VDI environment where users need to log into VDI to access internal resources. Not going to beat up on this one. Cloud delivered security services powered by Precision AI. We see a lot of new events. We block a lot of stuff. And we analyze a lot of things, and all of that goes in through Unit 42, which powers our cloud delivered security services. So let's see, how can we use the browser, right? So third-party contractors I mentioned, allowing secure access to your SaaS applications and private apps, very quickly in a few minutes, empowering those users, to use BYOD. And then anything that maybe wasn't an imagined use case before on a device because you really had no way of doing it. You couldn't achieve it with existing tools. And then I'll give you a couple of examples. Mergers, acquisitions, VDI reduction we mentioned, laptop shipping we mentioned, enabling mobile, so the Android, the iOS availability, giving them the freedom to use other devices besides their corporate owned device to access resources they need. And then things on the right, like Gen AI. Gen AI is a thing that's blown up in the past couple of years, and there's not a lot of security tools around getting that visibility and control. We're able to do that for you in the browser. So the key focus: secure environment, last mile or last inch data controls, and making that a user-first workspace. This is a large eye chart of some of the functionality. We'll typically I'll show a handful of these during the demo as well. But a follow-up session or a deep dive into this, if you have questions or see some things you want to dive deep into. Secondly, as part of Prisma SASE 3.0 is updates to data security. So digital reality, right, is that data is everywhere. Access from headquarters, remote locations, managed, unmanaged devices, decentralizing the cloud, right? It could be a PaaS or an IaaS, or not necessarily just a SaaS application or Gen AI. So the complexity of that demands a more robust data governance and security around the product, around the data. And that's becoming a challenge, right? The huge increase in number of SaaS apps, the huge increase of employees using unapproved Gen AI tools, exposed SaaS data. It's creating a unique security challenge because you might not have a big team, and you might need a platform approach in order to get the visibility and control you need here around this data. So that siloed visibility is creating blind spots, right? Increasing the risk of that data loss. So we introduced our internal AI powered capabilities to data protection. So around discovery, protection, monitoring, and Gen AI, we introduced large language models, precision AI, added functions like browser-based DLP, end user coaching, a data security dashboard for monitoring. So you can actually, as you're getting visibility into the things going on, you can protect that, and then you can monitor to make sure things are working as expected for your users, or if there is some sort of data leakage. And then AI discovery, control, and protection with our Gen AI platform. So revolutionizing that data classification, large language model powered classification here. So we have a large language model built internally. We use machine learning. We use our own AI as well, using pre-trained machine learning models, and then customer trainable models as well, right? So you can protect and discover things that are unique IP based on some sort of matching or fingerprinting with your data. We also introduced integration with Microsoft to use data labeling. So if you're labeling data in O365, we can then import that into Prisma Access and apply policy based on those taggings. Browser-based DLP, we kind of talked about a little bit, but we can do things like data masking, prevent exfiltration. So the ability to prevent screenshots, clipboards, block printing, adding watermarks, prevent sharing via collaboration tools is a big one. And then protecting those files. So we're able to put controls around those files based on source and destination. So I have a file in Salesforce. I can pull that file and upload it into O365, like or take data out of Salesforce and copy it into O365, a Word doc, Excel, whatever you're defining as your sanctioned SaaS application. But if I want to take that data and put it in my personal Dropbox, you can block that. And if I download the file to my machine, it is encrypted. It can only be opened from that user with the decryption key in the browser directly. We also introduced end user coaching. So previous to this, it was kind of hard. Some of the functionality it would block, but it didn't provide a good user experience. The user would just see that the file maybe didn't go through or you didn't have access. But now we're able to leverage our next generation CASB notifications across the platform and send those users an actual pop-up and tell them, hey, here's what's going on. Do you need access? Is your access granted? And we also provided an integration with our XSOAR solution for playbook and automation. And here's the aforementioned data security dashboard. You're going to see all the connections from anywhere from the Prisma Access browser to SaaS applications, how that data is being transferred, if it's data in motion or data at rest, and what the actual applications are. So simplifying those workflows so you can truly be proactive in your data protection. And then the machine learning powered behavioral threats. So identifying the risky behavior and stopping malicious actors. So detecting things like excess uploads and downloads, or connecting from a different location, or monitoring high risk users based on certain criteria. And then we have our AI powered NetSec Copilot that you can use as simplified conversational UI. You can ask it questions. You can ask it for documentation. You can pop a question here like, what apps are owned, what sensitive apps are owned by this user? And it'll be able to go through and see some of the information and pop out an answer for you like you see here. And lastly, we'll talk about AI security. So with the enablement of AI for just about everybody, we were lacking the visibility. When you lack the visibility, you lack the control. So with AI access security, you get visibility into those Gen AI apps, which gives you the ability to control different functions of the Gen AI app and then granularly protect that data as well. So we do have view usage of 500 plus apps, things like writing assistance, code generation, and that's how we'll classify them in the dashboard you see here. Over 60 specific attributes around those Gen AI apps, and those may vary from the more popular Gen AI apps to the maybe newer or less popular apps. You can detect and fix misconfigurations, and then just like our CASB solution offers, you can sanction, tolerate, or block those Gen AI apps based on some tagging. Okay, we also introduced app acceleration. We bought a company called Zycata a couple years ago, year and a half ago maybe, and they were in the content delivery space. So we wanted to take that technology and apply it in Prisma Access as a way for better productivity, better user performance, right? So slow app performance drains productivity, frustrates users. And when users get frustrated and they can't be productive, they try to find ways to bypass security, right? So slower downloads, delayed times for business apps loading up, or choppy video due to maybe poor connection. Think your Zooms and things like that. Based on research here, the average worker loses 46 minutes a day based on slow technology. But modern applications are kind of the contributor to that latency, right? So a lot of times it's not the device or the Wi-Fi, the cellular connection. It's not SASE. Usually our SASE solution, we do offer several SLAs around uptime, 5 nines uptime, 10 millisecond security processing, and then 35 milliseconds for our sanctioned SaaS applications that we define. So through our solution, you're not going to see that latency. Where you are going to see it is on the actual application side, whether it's potentially an internal application or a SaaS hosted application or something you're hosting in the cloud. Here's an example of app acceleration in motion. On the left, you see direct to internet, and on the right, you see a natively accelerated connection via Prisma Access. Well, less than 5 seconds, everything's loaded. We're clicking around. On the left-hand side here, it's going to run out about 15 seconds. So, quite a bit difference, 3 times faster with the accelerated traffic. And how are we doing that, right? So the enterprise apps today are dynamic. Everything's personalized. So it's short-lived. It can only be computed in real time. So it can't be cached content that we're prefetching or anything like that. It has to be done real time. And content delivery networks are built to accelerate content with caching, where POPs usually try to get added for improving performance, but those POPs aren't actually going to accelerate dynamic content. You're having extra POPs for things that you can't cache. So in that situation, with app acceleration, what we're trying to do is predict the content that the users are requesting, and then prepare that content to be instantly delivered as fast as that user can then input it. So we're predicting the content. We have AI technology, so it's more like an AI bot. It learns how the real users interact with their applications. So it's going to be individualized. And then we're going to proactively compute dynamic content based on that. So we're able to intelligently go pull the content that they use on a regular basis based on their usage in their past, and pull that data. This roughly translates into a custom packet shaper for every individual to compensate for things like network issues, intermittent loss or connectivity, differences in hardware, differences in OS versions, whether or not that application is live or near live, right? If it's a latency sensitive application versus a bandwidth sensitive application. And that also provides enhanced observability for your IT teams. So you can come out to the dashboard. We're looking at user experience. We're able to see with the accelerated applications what kind of performance boost you're getting, and then individually look at the applications as well and the users and see the performance increase for those users. We're able to do that as well through Prisma Access. So there's continuous and AI-powered security inspection for all of the traffic, all the time, least privilege access, and doing that with a performance that's faster than their standard internet connection. And last but not least, a couple more things on Strata Copilot. Why were customers asking for Copilot? There's Copilots built into everything these days. So having complex network environments make it hard to manage and make it operationally challenging. Being able to use all the tools they have and staying up to date on things, it's hard, and the teams are overwhelmed, right? They're very stretched thin, very small teams in a lot of cases, heavy workloads, and co-pilots are a way to sort of simplify the way they're able to get their data, interpret their data, and then apply that data. So that's where we introduced the Strata Copilot. It's built into Strata Cloud Manager. It's going to be something to accelerate your insights, so give you relevant suggestions for problems. So using AI to look at correlations between potential outages, maybe at a branch or with a user or people on the West Coast or some application they're accessing, we're able to ask questions like that and get quick answers. boost productivity. So you can actually walk through, ask it questions, get guided and automated security actions for resolving some of those things, and to elevate expertise by interpreting product information and delivering back to you suggestions and documentation when you're asking it for ways to do certain functionalities. And that's Prisma SASE. So the only SASE solution in the industry that secures managed and unmanaged devices and has a natively integrated enterprise browser. So we're truly protecting any user on any device for any application. And it's not just us saying that. We are a true leader in the SASE space, leader in SD-WAN, leader in SSE, leader in the single vendor SASE. And that didn't come overnight, right? So if you look at this chart and the evolution of SASE 1.0 to SASE 3.0 that we're discussing today, on the left, you see in 2022 in Gartner, we were a challenger in the SSE space. In 23, we were a leader in the space. And in 24, we're even further up and to the right than before, right? So as we're evolving from the 1.0 to the 3.0 to the next, 4.0 or 5.0 solutions, adding functionality, adding things that are speaking to our users to make their lives easier and more secure, you're going to see that trend to continue. Gartner's not the only one. We're a leader in the Forrester Wave for SSE solutions and Zero Trust platform. And there was a Forrester study as well that showed a ROI of 107% over 3 years with Prisma SASE and a 50% decreased likelihood in the brand and a data breach based on their study. That's it. Normally I would ask for questions. I don't think we have any questions. I will move into the Prisma Access demo, Prisma Access browser demo. So first things first. First things first is having a way to force your users to use a Prisma Access browser, right? So user comes, they log in, they can access anything, right? So I'm using Chrome. This is a general Chrome browser. What we use with Prisma Access browser is called an auth proxy. And with that, we work with you to create a conditional access rule on the IDP side. So you're looking for our IP coming to connect into your SaaS applications. So obviously, if I connect from this browser, I'm going to try to log in. I'm going to log in here with my demo account. And it says, your sign-in is successful, but you do not meet the criteria to access this resource. So try signing in from a browser, app, or location. So this message is fully customizable, but at the bottom, you see to log into these applications, which is completely customized per company, download this browser. So I already have the browser. I actually already uploaded it. Downloaded it, and I actually already logged in. I'll talk you through some of those things as well. But if you see here, office.com, I'll give that same demo account, and now I have access to the resources I need. Once you're in, this is your browser, right? So I changed the name, right? I changed the logo, I changed the background. So in the case of any customer using this is fully customizable. In our instance today, this is the Sayers browser. We're able to put different admin updates for the users, and we're able to individualize our logo and our background. We're also able to individualize shortcuts. This will look, act, and feel just like Chrome. Same bookmarks, right? I've imported all my bookmarks into here. Let's look at Sayers bookmarks. We already have things here. So this is a fully customizable, your own browser. Starting here at the top, actually, you know what? I'm going to step back. Upon login, we actually do a posture check. So think of a Global Protect user or potentially other endpoint product users where you're logging in and getting some posture checking. We're able to look for things like screen lock, encryption, decryption, certificates, OS, and device manufacturing and models. And you can do a positive or a negative match on any of that criteria. And then you can put policy around your users based on that. So if they don't have the certificate that's required, you know that they're coming from an unmanaged device. So now your policy for accessing internal applications or accessing, SaaS applications might be different based on that criteria. And you can get very granular just like that. Second, we see a sidebar over here. So you're able to, turn this on, turn this off, let users use it or not use it. And then we have things up here called policies. So these are going to be tags that you're able to apply to certain app IDs or category groups. So this one doesn't really have a tag. We come to Salesforce, it's a business. We come to Box, it's a business. And if you click on these, you can see all of the controls that are in place around, limiting where users can log in from which domains, file protections. Are we going to do scanning on these files and clipboard protections? If you come to something like Confluence, you probably lost a page, and I'll come back and I'll show you that functionality, but you can tag it as secret. So sites that you don't want users to necessarily be able to take screenshots or anything like that from, you can block that as well. We go out to something like reddit.com. You can make websites read only. So in this instance, you can come through here, you can see information, you can read information, but you won't be able to actually comment, share, do anything because the page is fully read only. Or it popped up, it says we're read only. If you go to something like 888, you'll see where we can apply advanced URL filtering. So this is a gambling. So it's going to show up as a restricted. We're actually going to put other restrictions around that as well. I can come here, you can block the page, you can allow the page, you can ask them to request permission. So in this case, I'll say this is a mistake and I'll send it off. And here towards the end, I'll show you where that goes into a console where an admin can approve or not approve that access. Okay, and then while we're talking about URL filtering, something like shime.com, which you see as a fat finger and it redirects to a phishing site. So advanced URL filtering is going to block that right in the browser and say, hey, this is malicious. Opening this might be bad. So go back, and allows you to put that URL control in as well. So in addition to controls like advanced URL functionality and kind of tagging these apps, we're also doing that data masking we mentioned. So the browser-based DLP functionality. Again, we don't have to do SSL decryption, so we're able to do DLP type actions on all of the data in this forms. If you see here, maybe you have a user that needs to log into Salesforce to verify customers, but they don't need to see the entire credit card number. They can get by with identifying the user based on the last four. So as you see here, we're obfuscating everything but the last four. We're going to go in here to John Greenberg. Same thing, we pivot in. We have controls over all these fields. We're still obfuscating that credit card information. But what about like a social security number? I'll take the social security number and say, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to take it out. I'm going to go to ChatGPT. This is a high risk. So this is one of the, you can click through this anyway sites. Proceed anyway. And now, so I'm not just using fake data. I'll type in who is Sayers. It's going to populate some information. And then, we didn't get the right information. I apologize on that one, but we do get Gail Sayers, who is an NFL legend. So we'll take that as a win.
And our founder. So
perfect. That's perfect then. I tried to copy and paste that in here. It says pasting sensitive data is not allowed. So what if I just try to type that as well? We're going to say, I'm just going to go ahead and send it anyway. Try to type it. It says sensitive data detected. You can send a request now to have that access, or you can block it. But what if I don't care about taking it into like ChatGPT or Pastebin? I just want to take it and paste it to my machine. I open Notepad, I take that data out, and I try to paste it in Notepad, and it also says it's prohibited. So we're able to put that control, all of that data in the browser, and you can see that under the policy here, where it says we have clipboard controls. So things like this, we're able to prevent users from taking out of the application. But what about sanctioned SaaS applications, as I mentioned earlier? I have a policy that says, hey, it's coming from my sanctioned Salesforce and it's going to my sanctioned O365. I should delete these because I put a bunch of them in. And then I paste it here, and now I'm good to go. So I'm able to take the data I need from my sanctioned app to my sanctioned app, but not outside of my sanctioned app. Okay. And on this page as well, you see where we can put watermarking. So the screen sharing we saw a minute ago, I'll get back to in a second. But if you see here, for things that you can't do screen protections on, you can't stop people from taking pictures, right? But you can eventually find out if that data gets out. You know, this came from, you know, the Sayers browser, came from John M, and it came at this time, so that you can go back and then pinpoint exactly when the data left. To the screen scraping. So you probably can't see my screen again. I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot. So screen sharing, you can see. Screenshotting, I'm going to show as well. So as soon as that page popped up, it was gone from the screen, no visibility. So I went ahead and tried to take a screenshot as well. It says screen sharing is blocked, but as you can see here, I took a screenshot of the other part of my screen as well. So you can see it was just that screen, just that browser tab that I'm putting that control around, and you can get that granular with the product. Okay, we come to something like box.com. So you want the ability to limit users from maybe logging into their personal Box account and, you know, uploading data or pulling things in, you know, because maybe it's not properly vetted, right? So I'm going to try to log in here from my personal Gmail. And as soon as I start typing that, it says you're not allowed. Logging into this account from this browser, logging into this account is prohibited to prevent sensitive data. If you come up here, you can actually see login is only allowed from evereast.co, which is our demo account. So it's actually going to say, hey, you can't log in to anything but that account. So I'm going to say John M at Evereast. And now I can log in and I have access to my files. So what are we going to do with those files? We mentioned advanced wildfire. We mentioned advanced URL filtering. I'm going to come out here to one of my favorite files, and I'm going to download it. Okay, at the beginning, when you logged in, you can force users to create a PIN code. That PIN code will then act as an MFA or as a lock screen. So think of pushing a policy to users' machines so it locks after 5 minutes that they don't have any activity as a way to protect the users. You can do that same functionality with the browser. I'm going to pump in my MFA. It's going to download this file. And when it downloads this file, if you look here, it's actually encrypted. It's a Prisma Access Browser PDF doc. So if you try to open this doc in anything other than Prisma Access Browser with my user, it's going to not work. You can't see it. The message popped up on my other screen. But it does not open. So I'm going to close it here. If I try to open it in something like Notepad, it's a big file. Give me just a second. It should open up. And this is what you see because I'm not opening it from the browser. It's just junk file. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna look at this invoice file. Now I need to download this invoice file. So I'm gonna hit download. I'm gonna put my code in for MFA. It's gonna take this file, it's gonna scan it. And this says this is a malicious file and it's blocked. So now we're able to prevent malicious files from being downloaded, uploaded, transferred, in the browser through your applications and put that control there. Okay. Okay, I know I got a few more minutes left. We did introduce functionality as well. One of the use cases we discussed was VDI reduction and accessing your private applications. So we have built-in functionality with the browser and Prisma Access to allow you to build a connection through the browser to your internal app. So this is going to be an internal application. And it's going to say internal app, heads up. It's going to be labeled as a private app where you can define that and put specific controls around it as well. I'm going to proceed anyway. I'm going to get to this internal application, and I know it's internal. It is usually we connect by IP as well to show that it's internal, but if I click here in the console, I can actually see that I have an integration with Prisma Access, and this is how my connection is going to Prisma Access and through a service connection. I'll go one more real quick just to show you. HTTP, HTTPS, again, across the service connection, across the ZTNA connector into your private data center, and you get this login screen. I don't have a login, but the connectivity is there. The latest thing we released for the connectivity is the VDI reduction use case. So giving you the ability to do RDP, SSH, VNC directly from the browser. We do have a product called Privileged Remote Access. I didn't have that in my deck, I apologize. But what it essentially is a clientless portal. And that portal lets you connect from any browser to this portal to do a protocol translation and across Prisma Access to your applications. There's obvious benefits from using a Chrome browser or Safari browser to using our browser because of the built-in security and the built-in DLP functionality. So we actually took that functionality of privileged remote access and we built it natively into the browser. So if I come here to remote connections, I can see I have an Ubuntu server and an RDP server. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to this. And it SSHs me right into the Ubuntu server. I'm just going to type help just so you know it's a real connection. I'm going to disconnect because there's a lot of people probably connecting at the same time. I'll RDP into this guy. It's going to log me in. Obviously, there's a bunch of stuff already loaded. I'll open this up. I'll open a new page just so you know it's fresh data. Nothing stale, nothing cached here. Okay, so that is the latest. And then I'm gonna go ahead and close that out. And that's remote connections. And the last thing here, I'll cover in a couple minutes, and I'll give back to Brian and Ken, is the event logging. So we are logging all of these events. There's different levels of logging. You can do full logging, anonymized logging. You can do session recording and screenshotting. So user calls in, hey, I'm trying to access this app. I keep doing this, this, and this, but it doesn't work, right? So I'm going to click on this event recording, and I will go into this log, which shows you the application, shows you the user, shows where you came from, shows any MITRE framework that you're actually applying here, and your compliance as well. And I'm going to look at this event recording. It's going to pop up. I'm going to hit play. It's going to walk through everything I did, moving around, clicking on things from that session. So I can then help troubleshoot and say, hey, well, actually, you did this, and you should have done this. We allow there's a screenshotting, I believe, that was just introduced, just announced, and remote screen viewing as well. If I come down to the request, as I mentioned previously, I made at least one request. Yep, there's John Miller. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to approve this for 10 minutes. And I'm going to submit. And you can put a comment there as well. So if you have a service ticket, you can put a ticket number or something in there so that when this is recorded, you can actually see a ticket number. And if you wait here about 15, 20 seconds, we'll see a notification pop up there to tell us that we're blocked. There you go. Permission was approved. And I should now have access to that site. Permission approved for 10 minutes. Got it. All right, let's go. And now I have access. So that just-in-time access we talked about, just in real motion. Now, nobody's going to sit. I'm sure everybody's thinking it right. Nobody's going to sit and monitor this dashboard to see what's going on and who's asking for things. This does have an API integration. You can do something with ServiceNow, automatic, integration there. Create a ticket. You can also integrate it with things like Slack. So if you have a team Slack, you could actually have an admin approval process where it goes to your Slack and then you can approve it directly from there without logging into the system, I think. So um, that was a lot of information. I walked through it pretty quickly, but hopefully this information is useful and we can have a good follow-up session. And Brian, Ken, I'll give you guys 5 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you, John. One point I do want to emphasize is at Palo Alto Networks, we do drink our own champagne. So, quick story, I had a baby earlier this year and went out on paternity leave for a bit. And during that time, it was mandated that all employees move over to Prisma Access browser. And as you can imagine, I was coming back to a mountain of work, and the idea of not being able to use Chrome, which I was very comfortable with, and as John mentioned, the majority of the work that most employees do on a day-to-day basis is from a browser. So I was definitely resistant to it, but as a non-technical person, I can share that it took me all of 3 minutes to migrate over, right? Favorites moved over, bookmarks, etc. It was pretty seamless. And so if a common objection is going to be user adoption, I can say from firsthand experience, that was not an issue for myself and my peers, and pretty seamless, right? So tremendous amount of value from a security standpoint, but from a user experience, I can say firsthand that it was very seamless. Um, so obviously we've covered a ton today, right? I think it's fair to say that SASE has evolved tremendously in a short period of time as it relates to Palo. And you can see the value add of bringing everything together, right? John kind of shared where we stood from a third-party validation, the various Magic Quadrants. At Palo, we pride ourselves on being able to offer best in breed, but also from a platform approach, right? Unified management, ensuring that things are simplified from a security standpoint. So, as a natural next step, as it relates to both Pan and Sayers, highly encourage you to reach out to your account teams. We do have, the ability to coordinate hands-on experiences. So we have a program called the Ultimate Trust Drive. This is something that Ken can lead independently. This is something that he can do in conjunction with a resource like John, where customers can really get a hands-on experience with this technology. Because at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, right? I think John did an excellent job of showing the value, but in most cases, customers do want to get hands-on, and that is something that we could accommodate. So, Ken, is there anything else that you'd like to add? Obviously, you did a great job of highlighting at the start of the presentation where you've leveraged this technology, to help deliver outcomes that your various customers were looking for, spread across multiple industry segments. But any further commentary on your end before we wrap up here?
No, not too much, Brian, and absolutely appreciate that. Yeah, I would just leave everyone with, yeah, reach out. Obviously we're, more than happy, ready to, further demonstrate, evaluate, and dive into the weeds on any and all of these solutions with you. And if you have challenges in your organization with different use cases, the worst we can do is have a conversation and see where we can align. You'd be surprised, at the coverage that you can ultimately have with a unified platform like this. So you may not think it's an immediate fit, but let's have the conversation and see if there's anything we can assist with.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ken. Thank you, John. Very informative. And again, just in closing thoughts, please do reach out to your sales representatives. I will help facilitate the connection to their Palo Alto Networks peers, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.